Imagine losing $500 million in just 5 days, all because of an IT update. This could happen to your Kansas City business if you're not prepared. Stay tuned to learn more on how to prepare your company to avoid similar incidents. Hi, I'm Tito Huynh, Vice President of Business Data Services. Would your business survive a complete IT shutdown? This $500 million disaster shows how quickly things can go wrong. Last month, and it was just a few weeks ago, CrowdStrike released an update that impacted businesses globally. And the company that is all over the headlines is Delta Airlines because they lost $500 million in just 5 days. And you're probably wondering, like most people, CrowdStrike is a huge company. How could they let this happen? Well, let's break down what happened in the first place. So there was an update in CrowdStrike's software that prevented Windows computers from booting properly. And essentially that ended up with a blue screen of death loop. Even though the computer restarted, it stayed in that blue screen of death status. And this day had that day that update came out has been dubbed blue screen of death day, and that's just colloquially. It's not official quite yet, although we're starting to see this incident actually be documented in Wikipedia as well, so that's interesting. So back to the original point. CrowdStrike is a huge company and they have multiple layers of quality assurance in place, and there's no way this type of thing could happen. Well, yes and no. For the cybersecurity industry, there's two types of updates. The first is a program update, and this is what most people think about when we think of updates. These are normally very, very slow, very methodical, and come out in batches. So if there's a problem, it doesn't affect all of the users. It only affects a certain amount of users at a time. However, in the cybersecurity realm, there are things called security and definition updates. And these are necessary because cybersecurity and threats happen so quickly that cybersecurity companies need to make those adjustments on a daily basis and sometimes even multiple times a day. And what caused that CrowdStrike outage was that security update that pushed overnight for us here stateside, but pushed during the day for everyone on the other side of the world. And from the accounts that we've seen, the companies in Australia and that realm started feeling the effects first. So now that we understand a little bit about what happened, this is how it affected Delta Airlines. Delta Airlines is probably the biggest customer that got hit by this incident. There are many companies that got hit, some small, some as big as Delta Airlines, but really Delta is the one all over the news. What the amount of revenue they lost was $500 million in just the span of 5 days. Now, Delta is a huge company. That is just a drop in the bucket for them in terms of revenue. It makes up about 1% of their revenue. Delta is a multi-billion-dollar company. And really, if in the context of small businesses, especially here in Kansas City, most companies won't be in that realm. But imagine that 1% of your revenue in just 5 days. That's a pretty big hit, and that's kind of scary, right? To put it in perspective, if you're a $5 million company, that could be a $50,000 loss. And that's a gross underestimate, because if you're a manufacturing company and you have deadlines to meet and you miss those deadlines, based on your contract, your client could be entitled to more losses because they're depending on that product to sell to customers or their clients and things like that. If you're dealing with bigger companies, bigger entities, you might even lose that contract and going forward. So the losses could be even bigger percentage-wise for small businesses. And in the end, a Delta Airlines losing $500 million, they can bear that and they'll get over it. But a $5 million company losing $50,000 or more, and then the catch-up work for their employees and possibly losing the employees because they get burnt out, a $5 million company can't weather that storm that well. So it's very important for small businesses to have good incident response plans and proactive IT strategies. So whether you were affected directly by the CrowdStrike outage or not, I urge you to do two things. First, you want to establish or reevaluate your incident response plan. You want to make sure you have something written down and shared with all and followed by all. And what do I mean by followed by all? You want to make sure that people know how the incident response plan works. And the only way to do this and test this is by doing a tabletop exercise. And that's the second thing I want you to do, is test your incident response plan. So conduct a tabletop exercise and simulate scenarios that could happen to your business. Think of this like a fire drill. Right now it's back to school season here in the States. We do fire drills in school so that the faculty, the staff, and the student know what to do if a fire ever happens. Same thing with business. You want to do a fire drill for your incident response plan. And incidents don't affect only the IT department. You want to include other departments in this incident response plan test, this tabletop exercise. You want to include other departments into the tabletop exercise, and that will really bring to light how well people know what to do when something happens. You can have fake scenarios put into play, like, let's take the CrowdStrike outage. What happens if 90% of the computers in your company are in a blue screen of death loop? What to do then? What happens if your phones go out? So you're no longer receiving phone calls from clients or vendors, but you also can't make phone calls out, and that's internally as well. What happens if your email system goes down? You can't send or receive emails. What do you do in that scenario? So those are two things that you can do to help prepare yourself against a CrowdStrike outage. If you learn anything from this video, it's this: cybersecurity incidents, and really incidents in general, can happen to any company of any size, and it doesn't have to be a hacker. But you don't have to sit idle and get swept away in waves of disasters. Preparation is key, and having good preparation will reduce the impact it has on your company from these incidents. Don't wait for disaster to strike. Educate yourself and prepare your business to be resilient against the next incident. You can do that by downloading our free report, 5 Significant Risks. And you can scan the QR code on the screen or click the link on the screen to get that report. Stay safe, everyone, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more tips. If you learn anything from this video, it's this: